Hey everybody, welcome back to Cool Stuff Etc. My name is Riley, and today we will be going through some more CDs. As you can see, there's a huge chunk taken out of the CD shelf, because today we're going through all of this album with bands that start with C. So I have a pretty decent stack here. I think that this might be the last letter for a while. There's actually quite a bit of D. But yeah, not A, B, and C had a pretty each had pretty full videos. So I think the next couple might be like D and E together, or D and part of E, or however I sliced it up. I don't want these videos to run too long, but yeah. So I got a stack here. We'll just go through it alphabetically, and have some notes. So pardon me if I'm looking down. But yeah, let's get into it. All right, I'm sorry, this stack is a little precarious, so I'm just making sure I'm not going to knock it over. Starting out, we got Epicus Doomicus Metallicus by Candlemass. A classic Doom band, as you would expect from the title. Epic Doom is a subgenre, supposedly. I don't know, it's kind of one of those silly genre tags that you hear about, but can't twist it. There we go. But yeah, this, as you would expect, it's epic doom metal. Very operatic vocals, very dramatic, I would say. I think that first off, this is a great album. I love this album, but I understand to someone who is new to the genre that the vocals could be a little grating, or at least take some time to get used to. So if you are going into this with fresh ears, just beware of that. But yeah, it's a great album. All right, getting into Cannibal Corpse. This is Eaten Back to Life. This is their first album. It is not the most enthralling release in their discography, but there are still great songs on here. And it is, I would say it is unique in their discography in that, it was in kind of the nascent, not super early, but somewhat nascent stages of death metal's development. So they're still playing around with a lot of thrash ideas here. And yeah, it's pretty quality. I mean, for a band, this young, I don't know, what else can you say about them? And have become this prolific. And this staying around this long. Butchered at Birth. This is their second album. Probably, if I had to say, I would say it's tied with my favorite. I'll talk about the other one in a little bit. Yeah, they really took things in a much, much darker direction. It's a very dark turn. I would say they're not having as much fun as it felt like. The first record, even though it is very gory and kind of gross, it had like an edge of fun to it. I think that's partially because of the thrash influence. This is just like very dissonant, very guttural, and yeah, kind of just crazy. You might, in some songs, you might be hard pressed to pick out riffs. On occasion, it's just like that kind of release, in my opinion. So. Yeah, that's Butchered at Birth. Hope I'm not gonna get like censored, or I don't know. This is a pretty gnarly album cover. I didn't even like it. I'm so desensitized to it that I just don't even think about it anymore. But that might be jarring to some people. But the next one's worse. This one I don't know if I have to censor or not. But okay, well, this is Two in the Mutilated. I'll do this. Yeah, so this is Two Mutilated. This is probably, I would imagine, their most popular release. It's got Hammer Smash Face on it, which is, a staple of the genre. I can't block all this garbage. Okay. I like the CD. It's pretty cool. It folds out. But yeah, this is Lost My Place. It's pretty much accurately rated among their discography. I think it is one of their best, undoubtedly. And I think the reason for that is that it took what worked on the second album and kind of streamlined it in a sense and the songwriting just got better by streamlining it, which you maybe wouldn't say for other bands, but it works for them. And in addition to that, they didn't sacrifice any of the graphic lyrics or imagery, and to be honest, it's probably in that regard much worse. The titles are are much more direct. They don't leave much to the imagination. I mean, when you name a song "I Come Blood," that's just what you do. This is The Bleeding. I don't have to censor this album artwork. Yeah, this is a great album. This is the other album that I would say is tied for my favorite. It's the last release with Chris Barnes as the vocalist, and I think that's probably. I would say it's a bummer because I think he had more to do, but just from what I've heard and what the band has said, like things weren't working, I guess. But it's a great release. As I said, it's probably my favorite of theirs, tied with Butchered at Birth. They toned down the explicitness of the lyrics and imagery, I would say just a little bit. It's still very, very graphic and brutal. But I should say the streamlining process that kind of, I would say, began with Tomb of the Mutilated continues here and is taken even further with some songs in here are like genuinely like catchy, have like generally catchy hooks. Like A Stripped Rich and Strangled is one of them. That chorus, it's kind of, you feel like a piece of shit singing along to that chorus, but it is very catchy. You can't argue with that. We got Vile. This is the first album with George Fisher, Corpse Grinder, as the vocalist, and I think this was a great introduction to him. I would say he's as a vocalist, I think he's really talented. I would say he's not super versatile. He kind of has one method of delivery. But it works. It works for him. He doesn't need to be crazy. He brings the energy. In terms of songwriting, I would say they kind of continue a lot of what The Bleeding was doing. And really, I haven't listened to all of their albums, but for the albums after this that I have listened to, like the ones that directly follow this, they all kind of give the same vibe. There's not a whole lot of variation going on. It's just good songs. And yeah, I haven't listened to all of their releases. After this, I've listened to Gallery of Suicide and what the hell is the next one? I think I listened to the next one. I'm gonna look it up because I want to know. I don't own Gallery of Suicide, which is it's one I've been looking for. I've been trying to get. Bloodthirst. I listened to Bloodthirst too, which is also a great album actually. Wow. I'm seeing that on Metal Archives. This is actually a pretty low rated one. I don't really understand why. There's some great songs on here. There are some and ones as well, but I think it's a pretty great album. So, Red Before Black is no longer their newest. I haven't listened to their newest album. I don't. What is it called? Violence Unimagined. Yeah. The album cover looks cool at least. I'm not like super thrilled by this. It's pretty formulaic. There are a couple standout tracks: Code of the Slashers, Shedding My Human Skin, the title track, and Hideous Ichor are great songs, I think. I think I should give it a couple more listens. It's been a minute since I have put this on. But yeah, when I reach for Cannibal Corpse, it's just not what I go to typically, but I saw it in the record store and I bought it. All right, here we're moving on. That's all I have Cannibal Corpse wise. Moving on to another band. This is Carcass with Reek of Putrefaction. If you're not familiar with why this album art looks this way, it is because it is heavily censored, which I don't particularly like. I do like this green CD. That's pretty neat. This album is considered the precursor or the prototype or a huge influence, or even maybe the first Gore Grind release. And I think it's fine for what it is. It is by no means my favorite Carcass release. I understand its influence on the genre. I understand why people like it. I think the biggest issue I have is the mix, and I don't know if it's mixed this way intentionally, but it's really, really shitty mixing. And I know it's part of its charm, it's part of why it's influential, but it genuinely sucks. Like, it's really bad. It's like Mortician. Like, it's god awful. The tone of the bass in for Mortician and the drum machine, they're like terrible, but it works. I just don't feel the same way like about this. Like, I think it's awful, but it doesn't work for me in the same way. I think it's a fine release. I will say it's a fine album. There's some good songs on here. I can't think of them off the top of my head, but there's some good tracks. Symphonies of Sickness, their second release, also censored, which I'm bummed about. I don't like the censored album art. I actually don't know if I like the original like collage of like bodies. I think I prefer this like, apparently this is like the stump of someone's head after they like had a shotgun taken to it. I don't know if that's necessarily true. I don't necessarily see it, but I liked like kind of the abstract nature of it and the black and white, I like that album art, but this is their second album. Definitely more in a death metal direction. I have probably the least opinion on this album. I have not listened to it in quite some time. I actually intended to listen to it before shooting this video, so I could have kind of an opinion on it. It was one of the ones on my list that I felt like I didn't have much to say about, but I got distracted, so I didn't. But I will. I should listen to it some more. All right, now moving on to Carcass album number 3, Necroticism, Descanting the Insalubrious. If I had to rate this one on a ratio between the quality of the music and the quality of the album art, this is quite possibly the greatest album ever released. I really dislike this album art. It's kind of funny, but it's also like pretty bad in my opinion. But the music on here is phenomenal. This is like legitimately, I think I might have mentioned this, like top 5 death metal releases for sure. The songwriting chops are insane. There is not a single stinker on this release. And like a lot of the other Carcass albums, I haven't listened to this in some time. I need to put this back on. Maybe I'll marathon all the Carcass CDs that I have, because man, it has been a second. Heartwork. This is when Carcass took a direction into the melodic death metal realm. If you're not familiar with the difference between melodic death metal and death metal, well, I would say listen to Corporal Jigsaw Quandary and then listen to No Love Lost, and you will know the difference instantaneously. And for what it is, this is good. This is really good. It's considered a masterpiece. It's, I think, probably considered Carcass's best album. Now, I don't know if I agree with that observation or that assessment. It's not as mind-blowing as Necroticism is to me, but it is good. It is good, for sure. And it probably has one of the better Carcass album art, even though I'm still not crazy about it. Their band, none of their album arts really speak to me. Actually, the Surgical Steel one's pretty cool. But, Swan Song is kind of lame. And the newest one is also kind of lame. But, whatever. They're doing their own thing. I'm not going to fault them for that. All right, done with Carcass. I don't have any other Carcass releases. I haven't listened to Swan Song or any of their newer stuff. So, maybe I should rectify that, but who knows. Carnation with Chapel of Abhorrence. I got this used, it looks like, for $10. I didn't take the sticker off. From Dearborn Music. So shout out them. This is old school death metal with a very modern production style. So, everything is it's all firing on all cylinders. It's very, very loud. Very, very in your face. Very abrasive. But it's good. It's actually quite good. On some songs, I get some Entombed vibes. But again, it's still its own thing thanks to the way it's produced and a lot of the songwriting. The vocals are unhinged, to be quite honest. The vocalist in this band is crazy. And the rest of the band aren't any slouches either. They're really pulling their weight. So I would recommend this if you're looking for some good old school death metal and you haven't heard it yet. Yeah. Next up, we got Death Atlas, Cattle Decapitation. This is a mixture. People call it death grind, so it's a mixture of death metal and grindcore, and I definitely see that genre label as accurate. And yeah, so this is one of two of their albums that I've listened to. I've also listened to Monoliths of Inhumanity, and I like them both a lot. I think that the musically, in terms of their chops, everyone in this band is incredibly talented. Travis Ryan especially is a super versatile vocalist. He can do all kinds of techniques, and he even, created his own in a sense. Or to my knowledge, he created it. Perhaps he was influenced by someone else, but to my knowledge, he created that sort of Gollum singing that I call it the Gollum singing. One thing I will say against it is that the band, despite their talent, which is immense, they're very talented musicians, I don't think they're super versatile. A lot of their riffs kind of follow similar patterns, I guess, which isn't a knock against it because this is a great album. And the songwriting, as opposed to the musicianship, is great. The songwriting is great. Like the way they their songs kind of evolve, and there's lots of different parts to it, lots of different movements, you might say. And as an album, this is great. It has a very cinematic edge. There's all these little interludes. It's kind of about the end of the world, as you might expect. It was released at a very appropriate time, i.e. During the COVID-19 pandemic beginning. And pretty interesting, solely for the fact that they released it at such an appropriate time. All right, we're probably about halfway through. I'll try and be a little quick on these later ones. Morbid Tales, Celtic Frost. What can you say? This is a bona fide classic, hyper influential, lots of great songs on here, really catchy hooks, but they don't sacrifice any speed, any brutality, any groove, nothing. It's all there. And it's crazy because these guys were pretty young. I don't know exactly how old they were, but they were all three of them pretty young when they released this, and it's incredible to think of how influential this is relative to their age. So yeah, good on them. Also, technically this is an EP, not an album, but I consider it an album. So following that up with To Megatherion, also by Celtic Frost. I think that they took everything that worked on Morbid Tales and just improved upon it. It's been a minute. I haven't listened to Morbid Tales in a while too, but yeah, I need to put this on. I got Carcass and Celtic Frost to throw on the stereo later. So yeah, not much. With these classic albums, it's what can I say? It's I guess maybe I have a controversial opinion about this album, but this is Into the Pandemonium, their third album, or I guess technically it's their second album, but I consider it the third. I'm not crazy about this release. I will say I love the album art, but yeah, I don't know. It's kind of an oddball. I know that Cold Lake is after this, and I have not listened to it, and I know that's kind of considered the oddball, but this is odd in a different way. I just don't think I like this one. There's some decent songs. It's just weird. Not much else to say about it. Oh, okay. Talked about this recently in a video. This is Cemetery Filth with Dominion. Sorry about the reflection. I am recording this on my phone, as I always do. And yeah, So this is a pretty recent, I believe 2020 release. Old school death metal, as you might be able to tell from this like sick ass album art. Like honestly, some of the best album art in recent memory. And yeah, I can't believe how good this band is. To be quite honest, they do the old school death metal sound very near flawlessly, and yeah, I mean I've talked about it already. I don't want to go on forever about this, but yeah, they're a great band, and you should definitely listen to them. I hope to put out some more stuff because this is the last thing they've released since 2020, and as far as I know, since then it's been radio silence. All right, Odious Descent into Decay by Cerebral Rot. I consider this death doom. I think that Metal Archives just considers this death metal, which is fine. But it's I don't know. It's got the doomy stuff going on, which is why I would consider death doom. I have some adjectives that I've written down to help describe this album. One I would say is chunky, sludgy, decaying, putrid, foul. These words and many others help to elucidate this album's diabolically filthy nature. This is gross. All the songs have gross names, such as Swamped and Festering Excrementia, Putrefaction, Eternal Decay, Repulsive Infestation of Cadaver, Primordial Soup of Radioactive Sewage. Yeah. The best thing about this release, I would say, is the groove. They have great groove. Oh, and they have that, like, they do this really interesting noise with the guitar, and it just really works. I don't even know how to describe it. It's kind of like a harmonic, but it's not. Or at least it doesn't sound like any other harmonic I'm familiar with, like I've heard before. So I have their second album on CD, and I just haven't listened to it yet because I'm a dumbass. But yeah, this may or may not be metal. I know the album art seems appropriate as a metal album art, but this is actually a ska crust punk band. So I think the crust punk is what makes me consider it to be appropriately shelved on the metal section of my CD collection. Yeah, but it's ska crust punk written by anarchist squatters who are also heroin junkies. Not derogatorily. That's fine if they want to do that. Yeah, I mean, like, you maybe wouldn't expect that I would like this as much as I do, but I think this is a phenomenal album. It's a great blending of genres, has a very rebellious, very strong political anti-capitalist message to it. They do not, like, they are not going to sugarcoat anything. So, yeah, in a lot of the message I agree with, and some of it I don't, but that's fine. Yeah, check it out. I think it's good. Followed by an album that I have like zero opinion on. This is A Descent into Hell by Cyanide. I have listened to this one single time many months ago, and I remember like little to nothing about it. So I'm just gonna throw this in the pile. I'm not gonna say anything more about it. I don't know anything about it really. I remember almost nothing about it. Buried Death by Coffins. This is a death doom band from Japan. And I think, I don't know if this is like earlier in their career or not, but this is some talented songwriters. They don't do anything super new. They're not like trying to rewrite the book on how to make death metal, but they got some great grooves, some great tunes. Yeah, I think they're just talented. It's also been a minute. I mean, this is a trend. This has been a minute since I listened to this, so I should definitely throw it on. Petitioning the Empty Sky by Converge. They are a very classic metalcore band. I believe this is their second album. It's metalcore with some sort of, mathy inclinations here and there. Very skronky, if you're not familiar with that. Literally listen to the first 2 seconds of The Saddest Day and, you understand what skronky means. Um, I don't know if I'm crazy about this. I don't really think I'm crazy about anything Converge has made, but I was compelled to buy this for one reason or another. And I think they're really talented. I will say that. I think they're a talented bunch, but it's not something I always reach toward. And that sort of trend continues with Jane Doe by the same band, Converge. Although this album, I will say, is probably much better than Petitioning the Empty Sky. A lot of people consider it sort of like a cornerstone of metalcore, a masterpiece. And I have re-listened to it quite recently, and I definitely understand why. It's very unique. It's really quite good. Of all the Converge albums that I've heard, which is probably like 4 or 5, this is the one that does it most for me. I guess maybe I should take it out so I can show you guys. I would say that its appeal has deteriorated for me at least a little bit since I first heard it years ago. But that's fine because it's still great, and I think that it's actually kind of a good starting place for metal because it's kind of not metal. Like, it's not totally metal, I should say. It's core as well, so there's some hardcore going on there and everything. I don't know. This is just a band that people have very strong opinions about, so I hope that I'm not starting a war in the comment section from some like crazy Converge fan. Impetus of Death by Corpsessed. I believe they are Finnish. Oh no, they're Turkish, aren't they? Shit, I don't want to get this wrong. Fuck, what are they? Corpsessed. Finnish, I was right. Finnish. They are Finnish death metal. Oh, I'm thinking of Burial Invocation. They're Turkish, I believe. This is great old school death metal. Sorry. It's kind of old school death metal. I think that they do their own thing. They're really focused on the interplay between the instruments. So there's a lot of groove. There's a lot of good melody, good harmonies. They're not really out to impress you with like flashy riffs or anything like that. They're just trying to create an atmosphere that is, dark and oppressive. And I think they do a great job. This is a great release. Let me show you inside. They're a talented group, and they have it looks like a new album that just came out last year. And do I have that? I don't, but I should, and I should listen to it. But yeah, that's Corpsessed. Craven Idol, Forked Tongues. I just spun this last night or 2 nights ago. I'm not quite sure. Fairly decent blackened thrash metal. They certainly have lofty ambitions. You can tell that by the 9-minute penultimate and final track on here. Both the last songs are 9 minutes long. They're trying some new stuff, I would say, but they're not like they're trying new stuff, but they're not rewriting the wheel or anything like that. Is that what the expression is? Am I stupid? Am I an idiot? I don't know. I'm probably an idiot. Basically, they are smart songwriters who are trying some new stuff, but they're not trying to do much outside of the genre conventions. I'll say that, I guess. They really put a lot of effort into this. I can definitely tell that when I listen to it. But it just doesn't wow me all the way throughout. There are some great songs on here, some memorable parts. But yeah. All right, 2 more and then I'm out of your hair. Or you could turn me off quicker if you want to, but then you'd miss me talking about None So Vile by Cryptopsy. What's to say? Incredibly classic, brutal, and technical death metal. The vocals go insane. The drumming goes insane. The riffs go insane. This is like hell in its purest form, to be honest. This is an incredible, awesome album. I'm showing you the insert, even though I haven't done it anywhere else in this video. And you know what? I just remembered that there's an Exorcist 3 sample on here, and so that makes it even better, because I fucking love that movie. Alright. I would say, if there, aside from Carcass or Celtic Frost, if there's any other album that you listen to after you watch this video, make it this one. This is insane. And finally, an album that I really don't care for. Sorry, I wish I could end it on Cryptopsy, but Crypt Sermon comes next, alphabetically speaking. And this is their album, what is it called? Out of the Garden. I bought this from Dark Descent because the album artwork is amazing. To be honest, it's incredible. But this is pretty much just Candlemass worship. I think it's kind of funny that I started this video with Candlemass and I'm kind of ending with Candlemass. It's fine. If you're gonna worship a band, if you're gonna like kind of rip them off a little bit, any band, I would understand why you would choose Candlemass. They are quite good. But I listened to this a couple times when I first got it, and I have just like not really felt the urge to go back to it. Maybe that's on me though. I think that, you know, there is worth in being a Candlemass worship band. So yeah, I don't know. I think I'll give this another listen. I definitely have some albums to listen to from having done this video. But yeah, that's gonna be it. Next time we'll do the D's, possibly some E's. We're making our way through. It's taking me a long time. Sorry for the, pretty lengthy breaks in between these videos, but I don't do this for money, obviously. I just do this when I have the time and when I have the motivation. So yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Hope you found some good recommendations. I know I kind of talked about quite a bit of some classic bands, a lot of classic bands in this video, plus some like pretty well-known modern bands. So nothing like too underground or crazy. But yeah, regardless, hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.